Overlanding to India, episode 26. Buddhist experience in Ladakh and Leh. We leave the city of Kargil, which is located on the side of the banks of the river. And soon we head into the more desert-like landscape. Immediately we stumble upon a military convoy. A closer look reveals that these are specialist vehicles for bridge building. Apparently sometimes they use wood, but the rest of the trucks look more professional. There is sparsely any green visible on these altitudes, but there are a lot of rocks and desert-like features. The road is winding, and here we see a tractor dropping some kind of barrel in front of us. No idea why. In the next oasis, we see a reminder of which country we are in. Slowly, the villages change from more Muslim-oriented to more Buddhist-oriented. You can recognize this by the style of the monasteries alongside the road. We climb higher and higher, and the landscape changes from a desert into an almost moon-like landscape. Then we reach the first pass height of the day. It is called Namgyal Pass and reaches an altitude of 3,700 meters above sea level. It turns out that it is quite windy at the pass height, but the views of the road which we came are spectacular. On the other side of the pass height, the road continues in a similar way. Near the top, we also find a funny road sign. It says, "Love Bro." Now, bro can have two meanings in India. Number one, it means brother, which is great for me and my brother as we are traveling together. Number two, however, is more likely. BRO also means Border Road Organization. It's a governmental organization who builds the road near the borders to the neighboring countries. The roads have both a civil and a military use. They are really high quality and a pleasure to ride on. It also explains the high amount of military vehicles we encounter. The second pass of the day is called the Photula, and it is even higher than the first one with an elevation of over 4,100 meters above sea level. The road winds down until we spot our first Buddhist monastery which we want to visit. It's the famous Buddhist monastery of Lamayuru. Lamayuru Gompa is one of the oldest Buddhist Tibetan monasteries in the region. It is said that it goes back 1,000 years in time. Today, there are still living about 150 Buddhist monks in the monastery. There is also a school to raise new monks. Here you can see a tourist rotating the holy scrolls clockwise. Thus, he makes a lot of prayers. In the monastery itself, you are not allowed to take pictures or film, so I only have limited footage of the inside. The surrounding landscape, however, is beautiful. It even has a name which I've mentioned before in this video. It is called Moonland, and I certainly can understand why. Because of its location on the Srinagar-Leh highway, there are a lot of tourists. Many of them also arrive by motorbike, just like us. The monastery looks well maintained and colorful. It's a beautiful sight to visit. Down in the valley we see the young monks walking and playing. This must be the school area. Surrounding the monastery we can see a lot of stupas and more holy scrolls. By rotating them we send a lot more prayers to the heavens. When we continue our ride through Moonland towards Leh, the landscape is simply breathtaking, not only because of the height. Just judge for yourself. Zanskar Valley Road. In the late afternoon, we reach the city of Leh. The next morning, we ride 20 kilometers east of Leh to the monastery of Thiksey. On the way over there, we pass some other monasteries and stupas. Thiksey is one of the largest Gompas in the area. You can see it from afar lying on a mountain top. Then I needed to take a leak, with possibly the most beautiful view that I've ever seen during peeing. Anyway, that was not why we are here. This is one of the grandest monasteries of the whole of Ladakh. It is said that it closely resembles the Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet. In total, there are something like 12 different levels with different temples and stupas and housing. The main part of the Gompa is very impressive, although I find it a bit over-restored. People who have been here 20 years ago say it was more original, especially on the outside at that time. Inside, the temples, however, remain unchanged. Strange lion you got over here. We start at a smaller place of worship, a Tara temple with dozens of statues placed on the wall. Then we continue to the silver stupa with, guess what? A silver stupa inside. To be more precise, there are actually 2 silver stupas. The next temple we enter is the Maitreya temple. This is well known for its 15-meter high Maitreya Buddha. Actually, this Buddha was placed in 1970. It commemorates the visit of the Dalai Lama in that year. The rather high-gloss painting looks a bit overdone compared to the older paintings in the older temples. Then we enter the core of the building, the main assembly hall. Here we see really old traditional paintings, but also we hear a strange sound emanating from a corner. Monks are creating a beautiful but temporary piece of art. They deposit tiny pieces of brightly colored sand on a round table. I would say it's more like a meditation. From the top of the building you can see on the right side the Karakoram mountain range and on the left side the Himalaya mountain range. In the middle is the valley of Leh. In the library we see holy scrolls which are hundreds of years old. From the other side of the roof, things are turned around. Now we look towards the east and we see on the left side the Karakoram range and on the right side the Himalaya range. When we finally leave the premises, we see on the left side a statue in a glass housing. Down in the valley, our attention is drawn by a lot of stupas. Although here you see the stairs leading up to Thiksey Gompa. A few kilometers down the road there's a huge field of stupas. To be honest, I've never seen a place like this before. The contrast between the desert-like floor, the dark mountain behind it, the white stupas and the blue sky is incredible. Actually, some of the stupas look real old, but they're freshly painted white. Probably they all hold some sacred secrets inside them. On the way back towards Leh, we passed the same monasteries we saw when we came up here, although being it from a different perspective. There are also some stone carvings which I did not see when we came in. Soon we reach Leh downtown. We have to watch out that we don't run over some donkeys who are walking here on the road. After we have parked our motorcycles, they come and have a curious look what we are doing here. We now enter the main shopping street of Leh. We see big shops and small shops, and people sitting beside the road selling some fruit and vegetables. Next to them, a monk is selling some religious artifacts. Obviously, we have to do some shopping of our own. We buy souvenirs and gifts for the family. Here you can see an alleyway where Tibetan refugees sell some homemade products. And now it's time to take a climb to the royal palace. This was the seat of the former royal family of Ladakh. But before that, we pass some stupas and we have to make some additional prayers to be able to make the climb. Also, this palace reminds of the Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet. It towers above the city and has, again, a spectacular view. The building is built of mud and stones. Until recently you could not visit it, but now it's open for public. It was built around 1600 and the royal family lived here until the mid of the 19th century. Inside the building is very basic. I think the original decorations have all gone in time. There is only a small temple area which is worth to be mentioned. What is nice on this building is the views you get from all the corners towards Leh city. The palace has 9 levels, so we climb from the lower levels up to the top. The highest level is only for royals, so, well, we are not, so we could not visit it. The 9th level, however, still is not comparable to heaven. Looking in the opposite direction, towards the mountain, we see on the mountaintop a group of monasteries. So that will be our next destination. It's quite a steep climb on an altitude of more than 3,600 meters. The bright sun on this altitude doesn't help either. It is called the Namgyal Tsemo Gompa. We pass again the typical prayer flags and look for a very special Buddha. Here is again a material Buddha, but this time 3 stories high. Let's take a look which building hides this giant Buddha. Maybe you have been wondering what this music is which plays all the time on the background. In one of the temples we found a monk who was praying. For this he uses a special drum instrument. I think this chant is all about the repeat. Back in the valley, in downtown Leh, normal life begins again. We see bakeries and I decide to take another haircut. I mean, I do need to look smart when I visit the family over here. As the sun sets, we take a dinner and we think ahead of the ride for the coming days. and it will be a hell of a ride. See you in the next video. Bye.